Hey kids, welcome to common rule number 1, the conjunction rule. So you should have access to the slides so you can review them whenever you want. That's what I'm going to go through now. And also, if you missed this, you're going to need to have the worksheet, which you can also get on the handouts and links page. Just go to, there's right next to where it says slides, click here, it'll say worksheet. Let's click here, practice worksheet. Common rule number 1, practice worksheet. Okay. Back to the slides. Also, have your composition book. If you don't have your composition book, just remember to do this in your composition book. You're going to want to find the next page available in your note-taking side. Remember, that's the first side of your composition book. And you're going to want to make a new page. Got the next blank page. And you're going to want to make a page that says common rules, and you're going to put common rule number 1 there. And then you're going to go to your table of contents, and you're going to write commas so you know where it is, so it's all nice and organized. And you're going to write common rule number 1 is the conjunction rule. Use a comma to separate two complete sentences that are connected by a conjunction. Okay, so in order to do this, you need to know what is a complete sentence and how can I tell. If you did not go through the grammar rock stuff yet, go through that. There's a video on just how to, kind of what we did on that day, and then also a very short video that goes over complete sentences, how to tell if a sentence is complete. How can you tell if it has a subject and a predicate? And if you went through those videos or you were here for that, you know that. What is a compound sentence? A compound sentence is a sentence that has more than just the simple subject and predicate. It might have 2 complete sentences. It might have fragments and run-ons and phrases that are stuck here and there with different things. So mostly compound sentences when there's 2 or more kind of sentences or phrases that are put together. What is a conjunction? We're going to go over that. And how do I fix comma splices? We'll also go over that. So what is a conjunction? Here are some conjunctions. If you can see, I don't want to be in the video, but how this says fanboys. So fanboys is one way to remember some common conjunctions. So for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so are common conjunctions. Mostly and, but, or, so are the most popular, and then or the most common. And then we wrote down what does conjunction mean. It means joining together. So it joins those sentences together. Conjunctions do. Other very common conjunctions: because, however, and therefore. So here are some. Here's another thing you need to know about conjunctions. Not only like, oh yeah, I've seen conjunctions, I know how they work, but choosing the best conjunctions for what you want to say. And that seems like it's something that's very easy to understand. When you hear me talk about it, you'll be like, yeah, let me fast forward over this. But for some reason, I do see it. I see it happen in writing where it should say so and it says but. And that seems like not a big deal, but it could completely change what you're trying to say, and you need to be clear on what you're trying to say. So when you use and, it's this and that. 2 equal things on either side of the and, usually. Or fairly equal, or you can add them together. They can be interchangeable. But, if you use but, it's not this, but that. Or it's this, but not that. It's 2 opposite things. So would be the cause, so the effect. This happened, so that happened because of this. Because is just the opposite of that. The effect, because the cause. So that happened because this happened. However and but can really be almost completely interchangeable, but sometimes however is a little bit better than but. This is true, however, this is also true. So they're very similar. Okay, so then we went through, here are 2 complete sentences, 2 complete sentences, 2 complete sentences, and you want to combine them with the conjunction. So now I need to teach you how to do that first before you do that. So, go to your worksheets. Okay, so common rule number 1 is usually there's a complete sentence comma, a conjunction, so you got and, but, or, whatever, and then another complete sentence. So a subject and a predicate. Okay, so when we look at this very first one, actually, I'm going to give you, as examples, we're going to look at 6 and 7 instead. They're very similar, but they're different. Aiden went potty and he washed his hands. Max went potty and washed his hands. Where do we put the comma? Are they complete sentences? Do they use the rule? Whatever. Okay, so we look at this first one. Aiden went potty and he washed his hands. So where's the conjunction? Got and is the conjunction. So we ask ourselves, is there a complete sentence on both sides of that conjunction? If the answer is yes, then yes, you need a comma. If the answer is no, then no, you don't need a comma. So let's see if they are. Aiden went potty. Went is the verb. Who went? Aiden did. Aiden went potty. Got a subject and a predicate. It's a complete sentence. Usually the beginning of a sentence, that's easy to find. But here's the tricky part. On the other side, is it a complete sentence? If I cut out everything except that, he washed his hands. Washed is the verb. Who washed? He did. Okay, we know he is also Aiden, but on this side, standing alone, he washed his hands, so he's the subject. So we have a subject and we have a predicate. It is a complete sentence. So is there a complete sentence on either side of that conjunction? Yes. So yes, we need a comma. Okay, and when you do this worksheet, I would like for you to exaggerate the comma, maybe put a circle around the comma so that I can clearly see that, you know, if you have one and if you have it in the right place. So then we go to this sentence that's very similar. Max went potty and washed his hands. What's the conjunction? And. Is there a complete sentence on either side of this conjunction? Let's see. Just looking at this side, Max went potty. Very similar to Aiden went potty. Went is the verb. Who went? Max did. So we have a subject, and because we have the verb, we've got a predicate. Complete sentence. On the other side, we've got washed his hands. Washed is the verb. Who washed his hands? Well, we know it's Max, but if we're just looking just on this side, there's no subject, right? So that is not a complete sentence. So then if I ask myself, is there a complete sentence on either side of this conjunction? The answer is no. So do I put a comma? No. No comma. No comma. And you'll write no comma if there's no comma. Exaggerate the comma if there is, write no comma if there isn't. So you're going to do the rest of these. The tricky one is me trying to be clever. Whoa. Honey Badger ate the poison snake because Honey Badger don't care. Honey Badger don't care is not a proper sentence, but you have to ask yourself, is it a complete sentence? So if you want to change it to Honey Badger doesn't care, then you can do that. I was quoting something, so. All right, so once you get done with this, then you go back to this practice. Here you have complete sentences. Okay, so these are all going to fall under the rule number 1, conjunction rule. So you want, he wanted to tell her the truth, and you've got, he couldn't think of a way to tell her. These are both complete sentences, but we want to combine them into a compound sentence using a conjunction. We want to use the best conjunction, and fits into a lot of sentences. But and isn't always the best one, and some of them are just downright wrong. So he wanted to tell her the truth, he couldn't think of a way to tell her. So he wanted to tell her the truth, comma, pick the best conjunction, lowercase this h, so because part of the one sentence, he couldn't think of a way to tell her. Okay, pause the video for a minute, and I want you to rewrite this. So you're writing, basically, you're making this one sentence, and this one sentence. So you're writing 3 whole sentences. Putting the comma in the right place, picking the best conjunction, and making sure that your capitals and periods are correct. So pause the video right now. Okay, now you're unpausing the video. Hopefully you actually did it. Did you actually do it? You should have done it. There's your answers. He wanted to tell us, to see if you did this. He wanted to tell her the truth, but he couldn't think of a way to tell her. He wanted this, but that. You could also say he wanted to tell her the truth, however, he couldn't think of a way to tell her. That would also be correct. She picked the chocolate bars because she didn't like the Skittles. She wanted something with chocolate in it. So she did this because this isn't chocolate, right? So comma, because, lowercase s, she didn't like the Skittles. The beans he ate for lunch made him fart, so the car ride after lunch was unpleasant for everyone. This one's important because what if you put, however? Let's see that. The beans he ate for lunch made him fart, however, the car ride after lunch was unpleasant for everyone. That doesn't even make sense, right? You'd use a however if it was pleasant. If someone's farting in a car and you're in it, that's unpleasant. So that's unpleasant. If it's however, then you're like, oh, surprise, it was pleasant. Everyone enjoyed that, right? So you want to use the correct one. All right. Then we had you look in your own SSR book and find an example of comma rule number 1. There will be one. Don't be like, oh, mine doesn't have one. If you have a graphic novel, a comic book, a nonfiction, a fiction, anything at your reading level, if you're not in like a first or second grade reader, you're gonna find one. And so then once you find one, write it down in your journal, and then go to the test and quizzes page and add your sentence. So right now, since you're doing it later than everyone else, you're gonna have to scroll down to where you see January, and then you'll see add comma rule number 1 to the form, or whatever, it says something, there's a link to it. If you can't find that link, email me and I'll send it to you. So you'll have your examples of those sentences. And, oh, of course, I don't have that at the ready, but that's okay. All right, actually, I'm going to stop there, and then we'll have the next video is going to be mimetic writing in learning how to use comma rule number 1.